It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And we begin with the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. The major story here says Naira redesign. Emefiele bows, begs reps to allow cashless policy work. Assures the value of old notes will be redeemed after February the 10th deadline. Crisis looms as POS operators rip off citizens nationwide. CBN uncovers 4 million naira in Ogun, slams commercial banks. All the details on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. We move now to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. Banks to accept old naira notes after deadline. CBN as Emefiele appears before House of Reps. Money supply in Nigeria rises to 52.14 trillion naira in 2022, despite policies. And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, new naira racketeering, EFCC to raid Lagos, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, currency hawkers. New naira racketeering, EFCC to raid Lagos, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, currency hawkers. Now to the front page of the Daily Independent. New naira notes, no Nigerian will lose money despite deadline. Emefiele accused commercial banks of breaching CBN guidelines. Says EFCC, ICPC, NFIU working with CBN on notes monitoring. Reps pass Buhari's 1 trillion naira ways and means loan request. And to the front page of the Daily Sun, CBN will redeem old naira notes beyond February the 11th. Emefiele bank customers play long queues at ATMs, soaring POS charges. And on the front page of the Nation newspaper, still looking at the redesigned notes, Emefiele banks to blame for scarcity of new naira notes. A CBN chief to Nigerians, you won't lose your old notes. Deadline extension likely. Mike.
All right, I have the Guardian newspaper here, and it says a cash squeeze intensifies, stalls business transactions. Cash squeeze intensifies, stalls business transactions. That's what you see on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. From there, let's go to the Daily Times. Daily Times is focusing on INEC. It says fuel scarcity threats to 2023 polls. Daily Times, it says fuel scarcity is a threat to 2023 polls. That's INEC saying that. You see that on the front page of the Daily Times. This Nigeria is next. Plots to clone beavers. INEC raises fresh alarm, warns fuel scarcity endangers Commission's plans. The EU observers call for violence-free exercise. All that on the front page of this Nigeria. Business Day is our next point of call. New naira, petrol scarcity, ground businesses as sales slump, and the easing inflation scene threatened. Okay, all that you see on the front page of the Business Day newspaper. First news is next. 2023 elections. I am in alliance talks with Kwankwaso Obi, as Atiku is saying this. I am in alliance talks with Kwankwaso Obi. Atiku is saying this. It says neither of the two presidential candidates pose any threat to me. One of them, likely to agree, the PDP presidential flag bearer, is saying this and argues voters, not governors, determine election outcomes these days. All right, this is what you see on the front page of the first news. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust newspaper, January vow, Wike-led G5 fails to name presidential candidates. Right? Wike-led G5 fails to name presidential candidates. Recall that Wike had said in January they will reveal who they will be supporting. And Otom Makinde Ikpeazu Ugwani in a fix. We are sure of reconciliation. Atiku campaign is saying this. Abia governor lobbies to replace late anointed candidate. They have run out of steam. Carrie is saying this. All that you see on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. From there, let's go to Leadership newspaper. Leadership says, All right, at Leadership Conference and Awards, Odinga is saying technology can be used to rig elections. That's what Raila Odinga, the strong Kenyan politician, is saying there, former Prime Minister in Kenya. All right, from there, let's go to Nature News, which is the last one now. Nature News says environmentalist, Emir of Dutse, Dr. Nuhu Sanusi. All right, that's 1945 to 2023. All right, President Buhari, Jigawa Governor, Nature News publishers mourn the passing of environmentalist Emir of Dutse, Dr. Nuhu Sanusi. Sanusi was born in 1945 and passed on recently. Of course, the nation will miss him. Right, that's what we have.
Right, gentlemen. Leading up to the elections, we are beginning to see some talks about alliances, and we saw that story on the front page of the First News newspaper. It seems a similar scenario that played up leading up to the 2015 elections might be what we'll be seeing coming up to this election, where the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, is saying that he is in talks with the presidential candidate of the NNPP in person of Rabi'u Kwankwaso, as well as that of the Labour Party, talking about Peter Obi. And that although both of them do not pose a threat to his chances in the elections, he is in talks with them. Sam?
It's interesting that Atiku will say that he's in talks with Kwankwaso and Obi. Let's talk about his talk with Obi. Was he not the one that said that an Igbo man should not be given the opportunity to be a president of this country? So if you are going alliance with him, are you trying to tell him that you are an inferior man, subject your candidacy to mine? Is it not insulting to even Obi and the Igbo nation for him to go into such kind of talk in the first place? Is it a talk of equals or a parley of inferior to the superior? That itself is interesting. And again, an Obi alliance with Atiku will also mean that I have gone back to my subjection in 2019, that I'm actually not your equal, and I'm always supposed to be under you. And in this case, it's not even going to be the deputy, because Atiku already has a deputy. Yeah. So you are even less than what you were in 2019, which is very interesting if Obi can yield. The most important one is that it will be a suicide plea for the obedience. For them to go and agree that they are going to go into alliance with Atiku. It will be the end of obedient movement as we know it, and it will be a very callous and acidulous moment in Nigerian politics. But let's see how it goes. As far as Kwankwaso is concerned, well, he rubbished the whole idea of alliance with Obi
at Chatham House.
At Chatham House.
Yeah.
So we'll see whether what he will say to any kind of alliance with Atiku in the coming days.
Because at Chatham House, he read out his credentials, and he was like, for him to align with anyone, let them bring their credentials. The person's credential must be, something that is better than his. So I'm wondering who is actually yielding that Atiku Abubakar is speaking of.
No, the point there is, this is politics. And in politics, of course, you will make your move. It's just like playing a chess game, right? You will make your move, doesn't mean you're going to win.
Absolutely.
Right. Fine. So the point there is, it is normal for those kind of talks to hold. It's very, very normal. We've had it before in the Second Republic, even in the First Republic. It was because things didn't really align the way it was meant to be. In the Second Republic, we saw a lot of alignment here and there, where some group of political parties formed an alliance here, a group, formed an alliance there, here and there. So it's very normal. However, if we look at the details of what could likely be the negotiation points, as the case may be, the way Labour Party has gained momentum over the last months up until now,
positioned itself
as it is going to be very challenging for them to say, okay, let us agree to you, and then let us subsume ourselves under you. However, For a party like NNPP, for instance, negotiation can still go on because one way or the other, if you look at the permutation, of course, it's gaining momentum, but it may not be in the radar of, say, APC, PDP, or Labour Party based on how we are seeing what we're seeing. Of course, campaigns are still ongoing. But the point there is, if a Labour Party, for instance, goes into an alliance with PDP, what it's going to look like, we don't understand yet. What it's going to look like, because I'm trying to, trying to create a mind picture of what it's going to look like. Because what makes us Obi and his movement, the obedience, is totally different from what makes the articulated movement.
Absolutely.
Right. Their ideas, their emotions are very different. That it will be challenging to bring them together, except if on the ground where Atiku sits and looks at it and says, well, if I see that I might not win this election, and maybe I don't want APC to win, and we're just creating scenarios, he could decide, okay, let me put my machine for Obi, for instance, and then let us see if I can give my votes to Obi, which is most likely impossible.
Very impossible.
Right? So it's just creating scenarios. But the thing is, it's good to, look at all the scenarios.
It reminds me of the alliance that we saw at the PDP primaries. The last moment
exactly.
alliance in which Tambuwal surrendered his votes to Atiku. And because Atiku saw that he didn't have the numbers to really win the primaries. This could be a desperation moment for Atiku. Having looked at the permutations, and they are seeing that perhaps his PDP at the moment will not have the numbers to win on February 25th. So it could be a desperation moment because you cannot win, even though he tries to cast himself as the northern candidate. He cannot win with northern votes alone because even the northern votes have been split between him and Ashiwaju for most part. So he's beginning to see that the areas that he can draw his votes from are probably in the south and the southeast. And the obedience are already there, So he's beginning to say, maybe if I can get the obedience back, because those are areas of strength in the south. If I don't get the obedience back, I can't win. Buhari, with all his northern strength in 2011, he could not win because he did not get, he was not able to use the northern vote alone as bread and butter. That is why in 2015 went into an alliance and he had the southwest votes to prop up his numbers to win the election. So maybe he's trying to go back. He's going to go back to Obi. Now I haven't lost perhaps the G5. The G5. So he's looking for, he's clutching at straws.
They are saying that there are hopes that there will be reconciliation with the G5.
Politicians are always optimistic.
Yeah, very optimistic.
Remember during the Civil War, one of the things that they told Ojukwu when the thing got to the crunch, people like the poet Okigbo and all that said, look, even if Ojukwu said he did not want to create Biafra, he had no choice because even the market women will stone him to death. So you can see a situation where Obi himself will say, I want to renege on my obedient movement. Obi will run out of this country. They will say, he has sold us.
Exactly. Of course, they will say he has collected money.
Yes, he has put us in a container. He has containerized the obedience.
Because I am wondering, what would be the offer? What it is that Atiku is perhaps offering these persons that they might want to yield? What do you think?
Well, the point there is, it boils down back to maybe issues of money. Like they say, everybody has a price, but some people have principles. Some people, the value of some persons is in the clout they have gathered over time. Right. But however, will money speak when in this kind of scenario? Maybe yes, maybe not. But it's maybe until they get to the table. But what will Atiku offer at this point? Of course, there are some states that are PDP states. Of course. And some of the states that are there, some of the governors, the way they are watching. For instance, like Bauchi State, that you can get a lot of votes from there. The governor of Bauchi State has said, anywhere Buhari said we should vote is where we are going. And Buhari is APC.
And
so
received them at the
APC rally. So it makes it challenging to even tell you that some of the PDP states that are even on ground right now,
although they
take out the G5 first. Take out G5 first, and then look at the remaining ones. It's a here and there situation. But maybe that could be the bargaining chip of Atiku Tsuki. I have some states here and there, and then I can give you this. Because as it stands right now, the Labour Party doesn't have any states to say, okay, this is our state. Of course, they have strongholds here and there, but they are relying on the votes of the youths and people generally, right? Which could come from anywhere. So the point there is that it could be saying, okay, I have this state, I can deliver this state, I can deliver this state, and coupled with some of the monies that are available. So maybe that could be part of, because when you saw some of the videos, if some of the videos sent out by Michael Achimugu recently is anything to go by, where one of the daughters of the candidate was saying that daddy has money. If it is money, this man will win this presidency. So if we go by that, maybe there's
money to offer.
Maybe there's plenty money somewhere. But how that money is going to change things? Of course, we know that campaigns run on money.
Absolutely.
But sometimes when you're looking at what you have gathered, the clout that you have, sometimes it's far, far, far worth more than what monies can offer. I'm talking of the obedience right now.
Right.
If anything happens and Obi takes money from anybody to jettison the movement that he has, I leave it
like that, because it will cause a lot of damage in the minds of those who have supported him with all that they have.
Imagine there are youths there are graphic, I know of people who are graphic designers who have decided, you know what, don't pay me anything. I will come up with all of those things myself.
Support.
This is my support. So youths are coming up in that way, and then you want to go into a...
Leave it like that.
Okay, let us happy like that.